I always say for me, and I think others too, my best scene work in a show is in my car on the way home. It's like, oh, why didn't I
say that or do that?
Why did I say that?
Yeah.
I should have said this. That's always the case for all of us. But by and large, it should be a lot of, it should be fun.
Well, that on that part of the report card, it's 100% there. I'm Patrick DePeters, and I'm your host of the Quiet Leaders podcast. I'm here today with Matthew Moore, who is one of my favorite people, not only because he's among the most funny people I've ever met, as an improv extraordinaire, but also because he's a leader. He owns an improv studio that I've been a part of for the past year or so here in LA called Improv for the People. That name is something we'll explore because he's all about including everyone in improv and using the art form that is improv to help heal the world and heal us as individuals and heal us as a community. And he's going to have some incredible stories that I know will inspire. They will probably make you laugh. And I really could not be happier to be sitting with Matthew Moore here for this conversation. So thank you, Matthew, for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Pat. I hope I live up to that that introduction. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll call you Matt from here on out because I know you are a casual guy that...
I didn't tuck my shirt in.
I saw that.
That's
why I didn't tuck in mine either.
Oh, okay, good.
You lowered the bar, so I did. It. But what I said there at the beginning is an earnest sort of sign of appreciation and admiration for you because not only have I benefited from your coaching and your studio and your community and met just some incredible people, but I've also learned a lot about myself through improv. And I actually was first inspired to even try improv because of a book I read called Play. And I read that book when I was going through a period of pretty bad burnout following my last startup.
Yeah. And
one of the recommendations in the book was to get into improv, and among a number of other arts and sports and other things. And so I came home from my first experience at your studio, and I told my wife that was the most fun thing I've ever done. For some very, very nominal fee, I literally just had the most fun I've ever had.
Were you nervous?
Do
you remember?
I don't know that I was nervous. I think I was probably a little concerned I would put my foot in my mouth properly.
Yeah, that's good.
But what I tell people now, because I recommend everyone get into improv because it's not, obviously in LA, there's quite a lot of people around that are comedians, actors and actresses. And so that can be intimidating actually, is that I didn't know if it was going to be mostly that kind of more experienced person or more people like me. And it turns out, I think, and you'll probably share more about what you think of this assessment, but I got the sense that there's more people like me than people like the next Dave Chappelle, for example, or, obviously that's a different type of art and comedy, but in any case, I love everything you're doing. I can't wait to get into this conversation and hear your story.
Great.
So I would love for you to maybe take us back, give us the rundown from where you're from and like who you are.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep it brief, but I was born in a small town in Indiana. I'm just kidding. It'd be funny if I told you my whole life starting from birth.
Oh, you can. We got time.
I don't know how much. Do we have time?
Oh, we sure do.
Okay, perfect. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Indiana, and I've been in LA, I don't know, like 28 years now. Wow. So longer. Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 36. So
God,
I was a youngin'. Oh yeah, I'm getting ancient. Yeah.
Anyway, so
next time we meet, I'll have a hair like
that's
hair
right.
Like yours.
That's right. Yeah. I've been here a while, but I was in the hotel industry for like over 20 years, and I went to Purdue and studied hospitality administration and all that. So came out here about 28 years ago and was in the hotel business. I still consult with hotels and do some work with with Fairmont Hotels and Resorts.
Amazing.
I work with them a lot.
Down in Santa Monica.
Yep.
So they have other hotels in LA,
Yeah.
or sorry, around the country as well.
Oh, they got hotels around the world.
I should know that, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Well,
So
that's all right.
I think I
So-
stayed there once.
Yeah. So the Miramar is our hotel in Century City. There's
Oh, okay, cool.
the Fairmont Century Plaza is a Fairmont. Anyway, so I was in the hotel biz for a long time, and then I've always enjoyed being funny, and even as a kid, I remember my parents' friends, adult friends, would say, "Hey, your son should be a comedian. He's super funny, right?" And I've got 2 older sisters. They never said that about my sisters because my sisters are boring. Just kidding. I'm kidding. They're a little boring. They're fine. They're fine. Anyway, so but I remember my dad always saying, "Oh, you have to study math and science, Matt. You got to study math and science so you can have a good career. Look at your sisters because they both are in sciences and all that." And here I come, the creative. I played the piano and that kid. Anyway, moved out here, hotel business, and stumbled upon an improv show. I didn't know what that was, but I was looking for something to do on a Saturday night. So I opened the LA Weekly. Do you remember the LA Weekly?
I don't know that I do.
No, you're too young. It was a newspaper, right? I think it still exists.
Okay,
Anybody? Yeah, it does.
cool.
Yeah. So I opened it up and I looked at the calendar section and I dropped my finger. I'm like, what is this? An improv show? So I went. I thought maybe it'd be stand up. That's a common misconception that improv is stand up. So there's a little. We got to fix that. Anyway,
Now's your chance.
now's our chance. Let's fix it. Improvisation is like, whose line is it anyway? A lot of people know that show. That's a good reference for people. So I went to the show and everyone else was laughing, but I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm like, what is this? They're making this up on the spot. And I loved it. I loved it. So I would go see improv shows like once a week after that. I couldn't get enough.
Wow.
And then I took an intro to improv class. This was a long time ago. And I would talk about it so much that my friends would say, well, actually, it was a couple of people I worked with at the hotel. They said to me, "Hey, you love improv so much. Would you teach me what you're learning?" And I said, "Well, I can teach you what I know." Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe I'll create a little improv class for people who might be interested in. So I went to New York for, I don't know why I was there, but I was there for a weekend, and I met up with a friend of mine, Adam. And Adam and I were having lunch in Manhattan. And I said, "Listen, Adam, I'm thinking about opening an improv school. And I think, it should be for everybody, not just actors. Actors, it's great to have actors around. And I'm one, so I get it. But I think it should be for everybody." And he's this kid eating a sandwich. Wow. Well, I take yoga at a place called Yoga for the People. You should call it Improv for the People, right? And it stuck. I'm like, "Adam, that's fantastic." So 16 years ago, we opened Improv for the People.
Amazing.
And I remember that first class. It was a Monday night. The class started at 7, right? And I rented the basement of the old Venice jail. Yeah, it turned art gallery. It's still there. It's called Spark. It's a great place. Anyway, I walked into Spark. I didn't have an appointment. I had no reason to believe that they had space to rent. I don't even know why I walked in there. But I parked my car and I walked in. I said, "Hey, I want to start an improv class. Do you have any space I could rent?" And the guy working there, his name is Felipe, he said, "Actually, we do." So he took me to the basement of the jail.
Oh,
Yeah, true story.
that's incredible.
Yeah, the bars are still on the wall.
Oh, come
yeah,
on.
No, it's true.
Do you have pictures?
Yeah, somewhere I have pictures.
We'll hook them up somewhere in the show notes.
Okay,
That's
great.
incredible.
Yeah. And so I looked at it and
You
I'm
guys
like,
belong in there, by the way.
we belong in the prison.
Yeah.
So I rented it. And so our first class was on a Monday. It was 7:00 on Monday was the first class time. And I was there, of course, like early, and I had to get all the chairs and set up and all this good stuff. 7:00 rolled around. Nobody was there. 2 people said they were going to come. No, 3. Two for the first class. And they weren't there. And 7:05, they weren't there. I'm like, "Oh, no, this was dumb. I shouldn't have done this. This was dumb." And like 7:10, I turned the lights off and was going to my car. I thought that was why did I do that? And then here they turned the corner, both of them at the same time. Their cars came into the lot. They're like, we got a little lost, but let's
traffic.
do it. Yeah, traffic. So we go back in, turn the lights back on. The 3 of us had the most fun time. And then the next week, there were 4 of us. And then the next week, there were 8 of us. Because
they were telling their friends.
They tell their friends, right? And that was 16 years ago. And now we have it takes a village to make improv for the people happen. And what a village we have, the best faculty members and members. We've got the best members. So we have almost 10 classes now. They're full. There's a wait list.
Yeah, you didn't let me get in next month.
Yeah,
this
no,
month. You were like, you're at capacity.
I did. I
Get
told
in line,
you.
buddy.
I did. That's what I told
I
you.
was like, come on.
Yeah.
But that's
So-
fantastic to hear that from an entrepreneur that started with that story to have now at capacity, basically, right?
Well, there's a desire for it. There's a need and desire for an art form that is collaborative and fun.
Very
So
welcoming too.
I hope
Very
so.
welcoming and encouraging and just kind.
I hope
think,
so.
Yeah, it really is. And that
Good.
Those are the kind of words I would probably use, other than the funniest thing you could ever do.
Yeah.
Because you check, the way I've been describing it to people is you check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you would frame it in the same way, but you're certainly not bringing your identity per se onto the stage, because it's not relevant. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we really push you to play characters and adopt a new point of view and history and all that stuff. If you played a scene, Pat, as Pat, or really what we say, close to your zero, like close to who you really are, that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
That's okay. But we want to push you to have a range of choices as well.
It's incredible. And that's why I think I had some little bit of experience in high school in a play. And it was actually, I lost a poker bet, and I had to be Peter Quince in A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I had the most fun doing that. It was so fun. And, like in high school, I had friends that were like kind of the jocks, and then I had friends that were a little bit more eccentric. And the eccentric ones were more in the theater, and I just had so much fun with them.
Why did you have fun?
I think it was, again, it has something to do with getting out of your head and being something else, fully committed.
Yeah.
Fully committed. Yeah. So, and Shakespeare is obviously kind of a wonderful kind of body of, Shakespeare has created, and there are people who think it's more than one person, but the body of literature, the body of poetry, the body of playwriting is enormous and diverse and very, very deep at a human level.
Yeah.
And so the art form of, theater has been something that, I'm not a buff in any way other than what little I know, which is that, the king would hire the jester and the Shakespearean comedy to come and, entertain him while he eats his grapes or whatever.
Right. Yeah, right.
And so I think it's a wonderful art. And so not only have I learned personally that it's very, very meaningful, I think it, as I said, came at a time for me where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and I needed to kind of get out of the box, whatever that box was.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably among the best ways to do that and have fun. So it's like, maybe unlike, let's say, theatrical work, and I certainly haven't done a lot of, let's call it, practice in the theatrical world, or study, let's say, but that it's like not, the fact that it's not serious and there's nothing to study, there's nothing to memorize.
Isn't that great?
It's just play. It's just pure play.
Yeah.
Is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it's there are many elements of improv that we come to learn week after week after week after week after month after year after year. It's a beast of an art form. It is fun. It should always be fun. There are days that we leave class or a show or a corporate training or whatever it is that you're doing with improv, and you might be frustrated. I always say, for me, and I think others too, my best scene work in a show is in my car on the way home. It's like, oh, why did I
say that or do that?
Why did I say that?
Yeah.
I should have said this. That's always the case for all of us. But by and large, it should be a lot of, it should be fun.
Well, that on that part of the report card, it's 100% there.
Yeah, good.
It's so fun. And I also want to go back to something you said, which is the people that you have attracted into your studio and theater are unbelievable. Like Georgie's, cool. My wife Georgie is having lunch with Daryl today, who we caught up with. Not only have I, played on the stage with Daryl, but following your birthday party a couple weeks ago, your 50th birthday party, that was sort of the launch or some kind of. Obviously,
I'll take 50th. Thank you.
Yeah, was it up? Okay, it's not.
Well,
50.
No, I think you're getting tripped up because I was born on that weird day, February 29th.
That's right. Okay,
that only comes every 4 years.
Okay, so you take out.
So I never get a birthday. So I actually got one this year. So I turned 14.
So you're 16. Okay,
14.
14. It's 14.
Pat.
Oh, it's 14.
16 would make me like ancient. I'm ancient enough. I don't need your help.
Okay,
I'm 14 times 4. I'll do the math for you. 33.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was going to guess, actually, if it wasn't 16. But in any case.
Anyway, so Daryl's meeting up with Georgie.
Yeah, so he's meeting up with Georgie, and I'm really, I'm like, Daryl, so check this out. It's actually really fun. Daryl wants to be a coach. and I'm an executive coach, and he's wanting to be improv coach and like maybe life coach, hybrid, let's call it, because I think they're very correlated, or sorry, parallel kind of approaches in a lot of ways. But for Georgie, who's also in a time of transition and wanting to get kind of the creative juices going again, I was really excited for her to be coached by Daryl, who's now starting his coaching practice and whatnot. And I knew they were gonna hit it off, and they will hit it off. So like, he's an example of some amazing people there that you've attracted because your product is so authentic, and it's so great, and it's so it's about the people's experience rather than like the studio is almost, it's just like some kind of interface in a way, but it's not really the product. The product is the people and you and your guidance. And for those that don't know, like, Matt will call like a scene of some kind. So he might say, let's say there's 12 people in a class. You might say, I need 3 people. Raise your hand, hit the stage, and then he'll give you a prompt. And sometimes he'll kind of crowdsource the prompt to the group, and then game on. You know, it could be a couple minutes, it could be 10 minutes or whatever. And just the fluidity of the art is unbelievable. It's like you can't help yourself but smile like ear to ear, has been my experience. So you mentioned something about corporate training, and I do want to talk about that down the line, because I actually think that's a brilliant approach to training, to leadership, to corporate culture building and rebuilding in a lot of cases. And so I love that. And we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I would like to hear what it is about improv, rather than, let's say, comedy or acting or other things that you may have been involved in, that really captured your heart.
Well, I think the spontaneity of it is number one, and it's a bizarre recipe, right? Because it's where spontaneity meets collaboration, and you need to be grounded at the same time, be willing to what we call gray spacing, or just taking risks on stage, all the while taking care of your scene partner. I mean, there's a lot going on in a well-executed improv scene, whether it's 2 of you or 10 of you, right? We've all done, those of us in improv, we've done scenes. A lot of our scenes are 2-person scenes. Many of them are 3-person scenes. Some of them are more. And man, it takes a real awareness of what's going on, and at the same time willing to take risks. And, so I love that.
Yeah, no, I love that too, and I think that's, spontaneity is absolutely the right word. I will say, going back to what I was potentially a little bit nervous of going into it, was the fact that you have to be really paying attention, because you don't know what's going to come. Right. You don't know what's going to come, and you have to pick up on these subtle clues, sometimes very subtle signals that kind of give you a direction as to where your partner is trying to go.
Right.
And then you can, of course, take it in a different direction if you want. And what's great is if you get it, quote unquote, wrong, and there's really no wrong in improv in a way. What I've been telling people is, unless you hurt someone, that's probably the only wrong that you can. Yeah,
unless you set out to sabotage a scene or whatever, or if you're not yes-anding a scene, is it the end of the world? Yes, it's the end of the world.
Well, here's the thing. I know because you so helpfully give comments after the scene.
Oh, we beat people up. People come to learn.
No, it's great.
Yes, it is fun, but it's not improv for the people is not a hold hands, let's have a picnic kumbaya moment. We work hard.
Yeah.
It's a challenging art form. We work hard. We expect a lot from our members. We give a lot. I hope we do. I think we do. And we get it in return. But it's. I feel like I cut you off with the whole yes-anding. To come in to sabotage a scene, which I can't even think of someone who's ever done that, to purposely ruin a moment. But we don't say mistakes. They're like golden moments. To your point, there's no failure. In fact, we embrace odd information or things that come out of nowhere. But why? Because we can play with that and justify it, and that's very fun for us. Yeah, it's fun for us as improvisers.
What's so fun too is it carries beyond the scene.
Oh yeah.
So you can have, what happens is you can have like the 3 people get called up. They do the 3 or 4 minute skit of some kind. Is skit the right word?
Yeah, scene.
Scene. Okay, scene. See, I'm still learning. And then there'll be another group that comes up. Could be a greater number of people. Could be everyone or what have you. And And that what's so fun about it is because everyone's paying attention to everything that's going on, some of the concluding scenes actually wrap in all the things that have been happening throughout the class, which is so fun.
Yeah, it's totally fun.
So you play. It's like you can pick a thing that happened at the very beginning of class, bring it back to the last 10 minutes of the class in a new scene that is just incredible. It's like, oh my God, that's genius.
You know, to your point about you're saying you have to pay attention, you have to be always be aware, and you do. I ask every person that joins Improv for the People the same. I ask them many questions, but I always ask, do you have good credit? No, I'm just kidding. Did I ask you if you have good credit?
You
look like a guy that has good credit.
I have perfect credit.
You look like you have perfect credit. I think it's the glasses.
No,
it's the glasses.
It is. It's all scam.
It's all scam.
When I was, anyway, we'll talk about it another time.
That's another
We're in
episode.
Hollywood, so people with Lamborghinis a lot of times don't have good credit. But in any case, go ahead.
I have a Lamborghini. Just kidding.
Oh, that was your yellow one.
It's the yellow one up front.
That's what I thought. Improv's a lucrative business.
Oh yeah, I'm rolling in the cash. To be present in the moment. That's what we're looking for. So my point, going back, I ask everyone, why are they here to take an improv class? And I get a lot of answers. I'm going to write a book. I have a book in me, and I'm going to get that done.
I'm going to hold you accountable.
Okay, good.
Yes,
hold me accountable.
And I'm going to write one too, by the way.
Do it. Okay,
we can maybe I'll write your forward and you write mine.
Yes,
How about that?
Totally.
Seriously,
absolutely. And the question I always ask, I'm sure to ask, is why do you want to take an improv class? And many people answer, I want to be quick on my feet. I hear that all the time. Yeah, I want to be quick on my feet. And I get that. I get that desire to be quick on your feet. I understand that. But it's not really what we're after.
Can I pause you there? Why do you think people say that?
I think people like to be the life of the party and they're too shy. I think people want to have a witty comeback at work in the board meeting, but they feel like they'll be judged. I think they want to be funny on a date or quick-witted on a date.
Yep, don't blame them.
Yeah, no, I get all those things.
Humor sells.
Exactly. I get all those things.
Yep.
But what they're really after is less than being quick on your feet. It's more about being present and in the moment. And, it's new improvisers will come into the studio and sometimes they just go for the joke. Improv is not about jokes or one-liners. That's stand-up. Yep. That's a different art form.
I'm getting into that too, by the way. Daryl, actually, I have a meeting this afternoon with someone from Improv for the People. Called Alan. Sorry, Alan.
Oh, one of our Allens?
Yeah, you're Alan. We have one of your Allens. He was there at your birthday. You don't even know all the people at your birthday?
No, we have two Allens.
Oh, okay. He's the one who looks closer. He looks like me in a way.
He's tall.
Yeah, and he looks like me.
Yeah, he's tall and looks like you.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He seems terrific. He's kind of like deadpan.
Oh, that's Alan.
Yeah, that's
Alan West. He's great.
He's fun.
Yeah.
So he's going to mentor me to learn comedy. Because I'm like, I got some good stuff.
Alan has done stand-up for a long time. I like to think
I might. I mean, I have 4 pets. I have an English wife, and we, some have translation issues on what's happening. Even though it's technically the same tongue, there's a different sort of translation sometimes.
You're doing a bit right now.
yeah, no, exactly. So there's this great. I remember when I lived in England, in London, when I did investment banking, kind of like the mothership sent me.
See, you have good credit.
Yeah, I do have good credit. Okay. Yeah, I do. So I was there in London, and I was, getting immersed in the British culture and working with a very, very international bank so people from all over Europe, but also, Africa and Middle East and what have you. But the English people, even though that wasn't the majority, actually, I don't think it was. Maybe it was about half, but probably less. They would say things that I needed, there's this translation table. If you Google what British say, what Americans hear,
got it.
It's incredible.
Got it.
So it'd be if they say something that's they can say that's not such a bad idea, and the American hears oh, he doesn't like my idea. Really, what he means is that's a brilliant idea, that kind of.
Right.
So that's an example, but and there's a whole table. You can Google it and hook it up in the show notes. Because it's a funny thing, and there's so many examples of the British humor it's a very particular kind of humor, which I love.
Yeah,
I love it.
Too.
It's very funny, and they can be crude, and they can just say whatever they want, and they all get it. There's, it's really fun in that way. Whereas I think Americans are more likely to get offended. Yeah. We're very sensitive.
Very sensitive people.
Are the people sensitive in the Midwest, or is that rumor not true? I heard there are a bunch of
I haven't lived in the
softies
Midwest
out there.
for
I'm just kidding. I know they're some of the best people in the country.
Yeah, no, Midwesterners are great. I suppose I think in general, people well, I don't want to get in trouble for saying anything, but I don't care if I get in trouble.
I got you back.
I think people in the world of comedy are just we're way more sensitive than we used to be. Way more sensitive. And I think that does us a disservice in comedy.
I'm totally with you. I think Dave Chappelle talks about this a lot. A number of comedians do. I mean, I think any number of comedians have probably at some point taken the heat.
Yeah.
And I think that is really unfortunate because comedy is a way to say the thing that needs to get said. In a way, there's always a kind of truth in a lot of what is said that gets you thinking. And like at a minimum, that provokes an idea that might not be the thing that is the dogma, the established kind of norm or whatever it is that surfaces important things.
Yeah. Also, I agree with what you just said. Also, it can celebrate people who are different than us. You got to be careful. I don't think a comedian should set out to offend people just to get cheap laughs. I think we can do better than that. But I used to teach stand-up for a long time, and I remember being asked by, there's maybe 20, we're kind of getting off the improv track here, but that's okay.
I'll bring you back. I'm a good host.
Okay, good. Great. Not doubting you, Pat.
Come on, you train me.
Don't fuck it up.
If I screw this up, it's not a good reflection on your Yelp reviews.
Yeah, I just said a dirty word on your.
What'd you say?
I said fuck.
Oh, it's okay.
Is that
Everything
all right?
goes. Yeah.
Okay.
We're adults only. On YouTube, they make you say whether it's meant for children. I'll say yes.
Funny. So I was asked in the stand-up class, we got on this topic of sensitivity and all this stuff. And one of the comedians, up-and-coming comedians, asked me, he says, "Are you offended by gay jokes?" I'm the gayest guy in Los Angeles. I'm not really. I'm pretty gay. But, I could be gay. I don't know.
What was the way you phrased it last time we met?
I'm the worst gay guy. My friends tell me I'm the worst gay guy ever.
And why?
I know who Madonna is. I respect her as an artist. I don't know her, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't, So this comedian asked me, "Hey, are you offended by straight comedians doing jokes about gay people?" I'm like, no. Here's why I'm offended. This was my answer then. It's still my answer. I'm not offended. I like a great joke, but it's got to be funny.
Yeah.
If it's well crafted, well written, and well delivered, and it's funny, I'm laughing the hardest at a good gay joke, right? But when it's dumb and it's just delivered as for shock value or whatever, it's like I'm not mad. I just think it's stupid.
So we will go back to improv in a second, but before we leave the comedy world, what do you think makes for that great delivery, the great kind of, for the joke to land? Like what makes that?
Oh, it's all in the timing and where certain words land, and there's all kind of the minutia of delivery, right? And some people are just talented. Let's not forget talent. There's some very talented stand-up comics, and for some reason they can say something that lands and it's hysterical, where others could say the same thing and it just doesn't work. They're talented. Yeah, no, I'm with you. In some ways it's a dumb question because it's the kind of intangibles in some ways. It's the mannerisms. Like, for example, Dave Chappelle, every time I watch Dave Chappelle, I'm like, this guy's a pro. Yeah. He is a pro. He can tell stories. He can do a build-up and go in a direction you didn't expect. And then he'll do things like bang the, he'll tap the microphone on his when he laughs, and that kills me. It kills me. It's so funny because it's like, if the joke doesn't crack you up as a comedian, then why do you think it's going to crack other people up? But there is also, there are some comedians that tell jokes and they're so deadpan that that's actually the funny thing. So Absolutely.
like the style thing, all these different types of it.
Yeah.
So, all right, back to improv, back to you.
Yeah.
Back to my guest here.
Let's go back to me.
So, would love to hear some stories of maybe some students that you've had that have really grown through improv, or maybe surprised you in some ways.
Yeah.
And then I'd also like to hear if there's been anyone that was they came with an agenda that was not at all aligned with like your mission.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll start with the first question.
Yeah, please.
First.
I'm not supposed to ask two questions at once. That's what they tell coaches. So I'm going to get a negative.
Yeah, you just got a demerit.
Yeah, I did get a demerit.
And if you don't think that I didn't clock that, you're wrong, sir.
Well, I did.
I'll send you.
Well,
the first question is very easy to answer. I see growth in our members at Improv for the People all the time. And we're month to month, like a gym membership. That's how we're structured. And the vast majority of our members will stay for months, years, and like over a decade. We have many of our members that have been at IFTP for over 10 years.
Wow.
One woman's been there 16 years. And that's
she was the first one in the parking lot that
that's
was
right.
she?
Yeah, she's one of them.
That's terrific.
Yes. Yeah. So
I
the whole
love
time.
that.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Right.
It's, in the world of, because like the last 10 years or so, I've been an entrepreneur, building all different kinds of businesses. Last thing before my current project in coaching was a dog food company. Before that, it was financial services in the film space and production, all these things. And so I started to like learn all these different like key things that really matter for a business to work. And a lot of times you learn the hard way at that. But one of the key things is retention, which is like, if you're locking someone into a contract for a year, you have guaranteed retention, but then you could have a fallout because if the product isn't good enough,
they'll be gone the next
they won't
day.
renew, right? Yeah, but they're gone the next day.
Yeah.
Whereas if you give them a 30-day out, anyone's willing to try that. And then the renewal is basically a sign that your product is good. Yeah, and that's great. So
anyway, so I see growth in our members all the time. So, funny, I think it's a good story. I asked a member years ago, he's probably early 20s. And he was so nervous in his first class. And a lot of people are very nervous, and they should be. They're coming to a building that they've never been to. They're surrounded by people they've never met. They're doing
a
an art
strange
form.
man that seems to be telling them what to do.
Bald, gorgeous man.
Who's 16 or 13? We're not sure. No one knows.
You know what, Pat? 13.
13. In that case, I don't even know if I'm allowed to have this conversation.
This is really kind of awkward. Yeah, so they should be nervous. It's kind of weird to me if people say, oh, if they don't come in, nervous. Anyway, he was particularly nervous. Okay. And after class, he kind of like hung around. Everyone else went home, and he's like lingering around. So I went up to him, and I said, I got the sense he wanted to talk to me. And I said, are you doing all right? I said, you did great in class today. And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm nervous. And I said, what's going on? He goes, well, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, yes, I'm here. Talk to me. And he says, the reason you asked me before class why I want to take improv at IFTP. And I said, oh, I want to have better communication skills. And I said, yeah, that's good. He goes, it's more than that. And he got all kind of like serious. I said, what is it? What's going on? He said, I'm getting into my mid-20s and I don't have a girlfriend, and I get really nervous around girls and women. I get so shy to walk up to them and talk to them. I don't know what's going to happen. And it just started spinning. And I'm going to be single all my Right. I said, hey, just take a breath. Okay. Let's, keep taking classes. And this is definitely going to help you take risks and be more confident and all this good stuff. And he's like, okay, I'll trust this process. So you probably have already guessed where this story is going.
He's dating Angelina Jolie?
And he's dating Angelina Jolie.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
well
absolutely.
done.
It wasn't that good?
You made that happen?
Yeah, I made that happen.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's really, you should put that on the website.
I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, I mean, you get a pretty girlfriend or boyfriend or
I was in a
whatever
movie with her once.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
was in
terrific.
a movie.
You surprised me every day.
I returned. The young man went on a date like 4 months later, and he waited after class. He goes, I went on a date last weekend, and we're going on another one.
Wow.
So that's the end of that story.
Okay, terrific.
Those success stories are very fun.
I love
right?
that. Yeah. So I will say this, though.
What?
You mentioned the dynamic with this guy being a bit nervous around women.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous around women, but I didn't want to put my foot in my mouth or do something that was somehow inappropriate. And I'm obviously I'm not inappropriate, but I actually didn't know that, because people can have way different kinds of sensitivity to a scene where you say something and it's meant to be come across in a certain way, and then someone can get really offended or hurt by that. So I will say that actually did go through my mind, and I'm not sure if you've heard that before, but it's just, the Me Too movement and all that stuff. It's like, you cannot step over.
Let me be clear, and I want to clear up anything I said earlier that might be misconstrued. I'm not of the mind that you could just say anything as long as it's funny, go for it. And that's not what I'm saying. I think there's definitely a level of respect of others that always has a place on stage, always has a place in the classroom. I didn't answer the second part of have we experienced any members that just kind of didn't fit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's but very rare. I think in 16 years, I call it the email.
Oh, right.
I've had
right.
to send the email maybe 4 times.
Right,
So
right.
that's pretty good.
Oh, that's really good.
That's pretty good.
You told me, so we got together recently and I twisted your arm to even show up here today. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Here I am.
Painful experience. But in any case, you said something that stuck with me and something I want to talk about.
Okay.
You said that you believe improv, the arts in general and improv in particular can heal the world.
Yeah.
Say-
No,
say more.
I have I do believe that. And a couple thoughts I have on that. I remember one time years ago, I don't know, the world felt like it was going to shit, and in a lot of ways, it still feels that way. Anyway, we had 14 people in class, and maybe this was not my best moment in a classroom, but I came to class. Maybe I was just coming off of watching too much news, and came to class anyway. We're in the middle
You
of
watch
class.
cartoons.
I watch cartoons. You're right.
What's your favorite?
Don't hands down, Wile E. Coyote.
Okay, back to your story.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
And in the middle of class, I stopped class. Middle of a scene. I said, "You guys stop. And I stood up. They're all looking at me like, "Oh no, what's he up to now?" And so I want you to look around this room. And they're like, they did. And so what do you see? Improviser. I said, no, yes, but look around this room, right? This is a snapshot of humanity. We have white people, black people, Asian people, straight people, gay people, religious people, Christian people, Jewish people, non-church, unchurched, non-church. And I said, look around. We're all getting along because we're celebrating each other. We're all getting along. Of course, they all looked at me. They gave me like, oh, yeah, that's true. And then we went back to improv.
Right.
But I was struck by that.
Yeah.
I was really struck.
So improv can heal the world. Say more.
So years ago, I was approached by a woman, and I knew her. Her name is Julie Marner, and Julie is fantastic. And I hadn't seen how life goes. You don't see each other for years. But anyway, all of a sudden she calls me up. She goes, "Hey, let's have dinner." So I was excited to reunite. We go have dinner. She says to me, she is the executive director of a nonprofit, and she tells me that about the nonprofit, and turns out it's a nonprofit that goes into a country in Africa. And the nonprofit is there to help particularly all people there, but to help young people learn English and get on their feet and learn about business and all that good education stuff. And I'm listening to her, and she says to me, and this summer, 5 of us are going to the country is Burundi. Burundi. She says 5 of us are going to Burundi, 5 Americans. We're going to Burundi, and we're going to do all of our educational tracks, and you're going with us. And I said, what? She says, you're going with us. I said, what are you talking about? I'm going where? Burundi. I'm like, what? Right? And
Birmingham?
Birmingham, yeah. And she laughed, and she goes, no, I'm serious. She goes, I want you to come with us. This is one reason I love Julie Marner. She doesn't ask. When she wants something because she knows the value in it, she's going to tell somebody.
That's why you're here.
Honestly,
I do the same thing.
You're very similar in that.
Yeah, is that right?
Honestly.
Yeah, I'm a tough cookie.
Well, you're a pain in the ass if you get down to it.
Dog and a bone. I'll.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
Sometimes you have to, bang down the door.
She did that for me, and she looked me right in the eye. She goes, "You're going," and I said, "What are you talking about? We need you to come with us to teach improv to these young Burundians to help with their English skills." Which is brilliant. And she didn't ask me. She told me the dates. I'm like, I don't even know where
it really is brilliant.
Burundi is.
Yeah.
And she laughed. She goes, well, here's the continent. I'll do it to the camera. Right in the middle is the country of Burundi. It's very, very small. It is often ranked the poorest country in the world.
Wow.
Year after year after year after year after year after year. Right? So flash forward 4 months later, I'm getting vaccines and get everything shots and I had to get permission from. I had to get a tuxedo. Yeah, I had to get permission from their government to go, which is harder than it sounds.
Is that right?
Yeah, And I also got a letter from the United States of America saying, to my email saying, we understand. I have an email.
Oh,
It's an
I have a
AOL
confirmation
account.
code. Someone that,
Yeah, we're even. We're almost here.
Okay.
So I get this email from the U.S. government saying, hey, we understand you have travel plans to Burundi. You can go as an American, but we highly suggest that you change your plans. So at the time, this was in 2018, I believe. A few years prior to that, the country of Burundi went through a horrible war. There's bloodshed, and there are. I should know this. There are either 2 or 3 groups of people that live in Burundi, and they're always at odds. I think it's 2. And so years prior to me going there, it was a war-torn small country. And so, but I went. Okay. So I go, save you a lot of details here. I get to Burundi, fly into the capital of Bujumbura, Burundi. And myself and my 4 American colleagues, we were all white, and we were the 5 of us I know were the first white and only white people these Burundians have ever seen in their lives. They were just so interested in us and who we were, and it was beautiful. They may be financially poor. The country might be very, very poor, and it is. But these people are very, very rich people. They are beautiful, alive, driven, phenomenal people, and I couldn't get enough of them. So I'm there, and I'm teaching improv to a group of 10 young people. Then the next session is another group of 10, and and their English skills ranged from non-existent to I know some sentences.
Okay.
Fine. It was rewarding. For what it was very rewarding. The last full day of my visit to Burundi, we were with 70 people ranging in age, probably from 11 to 80. And I wasn't programmed that day. Improv wasn't part of the day. I was just there, and I thought my work was done. And so Julie was speaking to the whole group of 70, and they were understanding some of what she said. Many of them were not understanding anything that she said, but by the beauty of body language and tone, they understood everything that she said. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And she then looked at me and says, Matt, let's do some improv with everybody. I'm like, are you serious? I got 70 people? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So he said, yes, sure, no problem. Inside, I'm like, what the hell do I do?
Yeah.
So I get everybody's outside. I get everybody to stand in a circle in this field. And I really don't know what to do. That's a lot of people. So I just decided that I'm going to have a ball in my hand, right? I don't have an actual ball, but we call it space work. It's just, I have a ball. And I just started tossing it. I'm going to do it right to the camera. I just started tossing it, right? And then, they're just looking at me. And I just started having eye contact and a little smile, and I just was tossing the ball. And then there's a hush over the circle of 70 plus people. I set the ball on the dirt. I made eye contact way across the circle to this kid. He's probably 11. And I kicked the ball to him. And I thought to myself, please, God, please just let him accept the ball and kick it to someone else, because that's all I want to do.
And not hurt anyone with the ball.
Right? Don't hurt anybody with the space work ball.
Yeah.
So I kick it over, and he looks around, and he looked at me straight, and he's way over there. He goes, he was the most adorable. I get a little choked up with this story, but anyway, he's an adorable kid. And he looked at me, and I went, and he looked at the ball, looked back at me, and goes, I said, And then he made eye contact with someone else, and he kicked the ball to that person. And that person kicked the ball to someone else. By the time a few minutes passed, one of them picked it up and was doing soccer moves with it in the middle, and everyone's clapping. We're throwing the ball around. And this is the most beautiful thing, right? So I get tapped on the shoulder by the woman next to me. She's probably in her 50s, 60s. She pulls me out of the circle while they continued the game. And she's all puddled up in her eyes. She goes, do you know what's happening here? And I said, yeah, we're doing some improv with a fake ball. And she goes, no, it's much more than that. She goes, my brother died. He was killed right here on this field by people from the other side, right? Who were represented in the circle. And she says, this is the first time as the 2 different groups that we have gotten together, not fighting, and we're smiling and laughing with each other. I just want to let you know that that's what's happening here. I will never forget that. It was really an amazing moment in my life and career. And to
High
see,
five. That's really, it's really incredible.
Yeah,
it really is incredible.
It was nuts. And, you know, so I went back to, and I'm not patting myself on the back. Anybody that does improv or promotes improv, you know, that's what this art form does. So I went back to my hotel room, King's Conference Hotel. They were very proud. They were and probably are very proud of that hotel. It's the first one they really built. Anyway, that's where I got to stay. And that night, I was coming back to the United States the next day. And it's a hall. It's on the other side of the world. Anyway, I get a call. And the lady says, "Hi, I'm calling from Ambassador Casper's office." I said, "Oh." And she said, "The ambassador, this is the United States ambassador to Burundi. The ambassador would like to know when you're leaving." And I said, "Oh, well, I leave tomorrow in the afternoon. We'll send a car for you tomorrow morning. The ambassador would like to meet with you." So they send this black car to my hotel. They pick me up. We go down the dirt roads of Bujumbura, and we arrive at this beautiful building. It's a gorgeous building. I would say it's the most beautiful building there, and it belongs to the United States. And so you can imagine the layers of security to get into the United States Embassy. I get in, I'm overwhelmed. I sit in a big lobby, and then all of a sudden the assistant comes and gets me. We go upstairs to the ambassador's office and opens the door, and Ambassador Ann Casper welcomes me, and she's from San Diego, and I tell her my experience, what I just told you guys. And we both looked at each other, and she says, "You know, the arts," and she knows the history of Burundi more as well as anybody, right? She's their ambassador. She's our ambassador there. And she says, "You know, the arts have a chance of healing this country." I just thought it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So we're going to wrap this up with a couple of last questions. Who are your role models?
Oh my gosh.
Or a hero, or someone you want to thank. Those are 3 questions.
Wow. Well.
And they don't have to be alive, and you don't have to know them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can go historical figure if you want.
Historical figure.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be bringing on like experts such as yourself to talk about important historical figures, because many of them are my heroes. So
yeah.
Take it any which direction you like.
Well, you know, I suppose this is the answer a lot of people would give, but it's true for me too. Is my parents were always, you know, cheering me on in life, and I think that I knew that I think they knew their kid was different. I mean, I grew up in a small town in Indiana, a very Catholic family, and all that. And when I look back, I know that I must have been, you know, I was the little, probably they knew I was gay. Maybe, I don't know if they did or not, but they didn't give a rip.
That's amazing.
And that's not always true. That's a different podcast. But
yeah.
But anyway, I'll leave it at this. That they just loved me being me, and they did everything for me, and I think my sisters would say the same for them, to be ourselves no matter who we were. I think when my dad finally realized that his son was not going to go down the route of math and science and engineering like his daughters did, he really became very supportive of me. So yeah, they're at the top of the list.
Love that.
I have one other person I'd like to mention.
Sure.
I was in the hotel business for a million years, and about the last 3 months of my tour of duty in the hotels, the GM, I was director of operations in the hotel, which is typically number 2. Okay,
is that equivalent in the film world to like featured extra?
Yeah,
Similar?
I was a featured extra.
Cool. Okay, I got you.
Yes. And so as the general manager, then director of operations, and then the rest of the staff. So I'd worked in hotels for 20-some years. So I landed at director of operations. The GM, who's my boss, his name is Henry Bermely, came into my office once, and he goes, "I want to talk to you." I said, "What's up?" He said, "Every time you talk about running out to take an improv class," or at that time I was teaching 1 class a week, every time you talk about teaching improv or performing improv or even doing stand-up or acting, you light up. You light up, Matt. And when I ask you what's going on in the hotel, you're good. You tell me what's going on. I know you have a passion for the property and the business. And don't get me wrong, you're great. But when you talk about comedy and entertainment and improv, you light up." Then he shut the door. He was still in my office. He shut the door. He goes, "I need you to resign. I want you to resign and go live your life. Go live what you were supposed to do.
That's incredible.
And, it's kind of shocking when your boss tells you to resign.
Yeah.
Right. And so he left, and I called my dad like the next day, and I told my dad this, and my dad, small town Indiana guy, right? He said, do it. He goes, Henry's right. Do it right. Give him 30 days. Don't give him 2 weeks. You have a big position. Just give him a month or so, and then work your way into a new path.
That's amazing.
It was amazing.
That's amazing.
It was in my 40s, right?
That's amazing.
It was really, really great. And I did that. And every once in a while, Henry's moved on with his career, and he's been at all these wonderful properties. That he's a brilliant hotelier. But I'll drop him a note every once in a while and just thank him. That's someone I look up to.
I'm really happy that you offered that story and that kind of thank you letter, because this project is a thank you letter as well. Like it's for me and for everyone that's on. It's a kind of I don't know about you, but I get the sense that you have this too, where you think about the person you want to thank from 20 years ago, the teacher that believed in you, the coach that taught you, and yet you never get around to writing the letter.
Write the letter.
Write the letter.
What you're doing here is fantastic, by the way, Pat, and I'm really happy to be part of it.
I appreciate that. No, it's a real honor to have you, and I honestly think you're just a remarkable person in every respect, and I've learned a lot from you, and I'm inspired by you, and we got to get more people in improv. So where can people find Mr. Matthew Moore?
Improvforthepeople.com.
That's it. And you do corporate trainings, which we didn't talk about, but I will say I co-sign that altogether.
Yeah, no, that's a real quick. That's a savvy companies that know the value of improv in the workplace. That's not every company, but savvy companies who know the value of improv trainings will bring me in, and not just me, the faculty at Improv for the People. We have certified corporate trainers that are on our staff. We go in and do team builders with companies. We use the fundamentals of improv to increase communication skills, problem solving, conflict management, teach empathy, leadership.
Yep, and followership, which is a part of leadership.
Well, there's a concept in improv. We don't follow the leader, we follow the follower. So anyway, we get into all that. So it's very effective, and there's a lot of good takeaways. Plus, it's a lot of fun. Everybody laughs.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. No more rope course, fallbacks.
Well, when companies,
that has its place, I suppose. But improv's more fun.
It's funny because when companies call me, I'll say, well, I know you did the escape room last year, so let's do something. How did you know? I'm like, I just know. We all know you did an escape room, which is great. Escape rooms are fun. But so there's information on that at improforthepeople.com as well.
Amazing. I will also say, Improv for the People is an organization that I tend to continue partnering with. Obviously, in the executive coaching business, I think it could be helpful to have that kind of entity of sorts, to the extent this is a good thing. It basically vouched for that kind of training, because I think it really is. I've benefited enormously, and I think when you told me that, I was like, that is genius.
Yeah, that's really.
And
fun.
we talked about. Well, we actually won't share some of the ideas we talked about, because those are secret for the moment. But
right.
What I will say is
Trade
one
secret.
quick thing for anyone that is considering that. Do you want to give some representative sample of some of the kinds of companies that you've worked with, or is that not?
Share some companies?
Yeah, just a couple, just to give people a sense.
Yeah, it's on, we have a separate website, really is more specific, improvyourteam.com. That lists our...
Let the record show.
Let the record show. So I'm happy to talk about some of the companies we've worked with, because it's on our website. Fairmont Hotels and Resorts is a precious client of ours, which is also part of Accor Hotels. Fidelity, Snapchat, Yahoo, Google, USC School of Neurology, Keck School of Medicine, Pepperdine University, University of Texas School of Medicine. I don't know.
That's amazing.
There's tons of them.
One quick thing we'll talk about offline is my last guest on my previous podcast runs a charity here in LA called Teen Cancer America, but it's really across the U.S. And I mentioned I was going to be speaking with you, and I actually think the collaboration you might be able to do with that organization could be incredible.
Great, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I will leave you with this. We got a call a month ago from the U.S., but from the Army. The Army wants to.
That's incredible.
Do some improv.
That's so great.
Yeah.
And as we said, I mean, what you saw and experienced and witnessed in Burundi could be replicated in so many war-torn countries and so many different international political stalemates of all sorts. And as you said, if you could do improv with someone in any one number of those countries that have historically, tricky diplomatic relations with the U.S. or other countries, improv is a Brilliant solution.
It
Congress
is.
should be doing improv.
I agree.